Okay, I guess we can play this.
Australia has a lot of spiders, but recently we found a new one, because of course we fucking did. And the new one is
Let's
the most
go.
certified Australia moment I've ever seen. For a bit of context, one of the several thousand spider species we are home to is the Sydney funnel web, the deadliest spider on the planet. Because of course it's down here. Where the fuck else did you think you were going to find it? These scary looking fuckers are highly venomous and can flatline you with a bite in 15 minutes. And if you think wearing thick clothes will save you, be aware the bastards have fangs long enough to punch through shoe leather. Now, why do I bring these little nightmares up? What is the one thing worse than a spider rocking armor-piercing rounds that can send you to hell with same-day delivery? A bigger spider rocking the same perk setup. That's right, Australian scientists have found a brand new species of this funnel web that is even bigger. How much bigger? Well, the standard Sydney funnel web grows to around 5 centimetres or 2 inches. And I mean, if you're asking me, 2 inches is more than enough. 2 inches is actually fucking huge. By comparison, this is the new one. It's twice the fucking size, cunt. 4 inches of 8-legged menace to the animal kingdom.
It's beautiful, come on.
See, do you know what they named this thing? Do you know what professional scientists named a supersized version of the most dangerous spider on the entire fucking planet? The Newcastle Big Boy. Deadliest spider on the entire fucking globe. Big Boy. Only in Australia.
Wait. But isn't the biggest spider in the world the bird-eater Goliath spider? Wasn't it the biggest one? Like, the biggest one, I guess. The deadliest one is not that one. It's just the biggest, because he can eat birds. The deadliest one, I think it's, I don't know, man. Is bigger than the Goliath spider. Do you ever saw a Goliath spider? Let me see. Goliath spider. Look at this. Look at this. You don't know how big this is. Ah, the deadliest one. Okay, because look at this. This is it. You know. Look at this. Okay, sorry.
But I'm not sure you quite understand just how fucking weird. See, everyone knows the basics.
For me, Platypus is a bird. I don't care.
Randomizer on the spore creature creator and just
Spore.
But you see, mate, that's barely even scratching the surface of weird platypus features. First up, as is the qualifier for any Australian animal, did you know they're venomous? No.
Yes, they are. They have the venom in like their paws or something. Yeah, that thing.
Spurs are multi-purpose, acting as defense from predators, as well as a tool for throwing hands with other.
I think it's only the male ones that they have.
While their venom is non-lethal, that doesn't mean that getting stung by them doesn't fucking suck. See, platypus venom can cause extreme pain and swelling, and to ensure you remember not to fuck with them again, these effects can last for several months and have no treatment or anti-venom. So if Perry stabs your shit, your only option is to cry about it. Next on the list of offensive capabilities, I shit you not, platypus share the same hunting method as sharks. You see, that big-ass bill isn't just for show, as it contains enough surveillance equipment to make the CIA blush. Possessing the sense changes in pressure in the water, but most importantly, containing electroreceptors that track electrical signals from muscle contractions made by their prey. Meaning that when whatever they're chasing starts quaking in fear, they know about it. And last but not least, as if those things weren't already unbelievable, we recently discovered something new. Platypus are fucking biofluorescent.
What?
They glow. If you hit these things with a flashlight, they go bright fucking green. And the best part of that is, we have no clue why they do it. I guess it just means Perry was a biblically accurate platypus. Who fucking designed this thing? Platypus are weird.
Oh my god, this is amazing.
This seal is such a menace that he routinely gets the cops called on him. Introducing our protagonist, a 600 kilo absolute unit of a southern elephant seal from my home state of Tasmania in the land down under, who is known for, above all else, being an absolute fucking menace to polite society. But despite his crimes, we all still truly love him. But what are his
Aw.
crimes? Well, see, he seems to just fucking hate traffic cones and road safety in general. Has regularly been caught trespassing, and then once he has been caught trespassing, belligerently screaming at locals because they won't give him his fucking fish, and has been known to just block roads by plopping his fat ass down directly in the middle of them. However, hands down, the funniest shit he has ever done was just straight stopping this random lady from going to work. I shit you not. This motherfucker
It's so
crawled
cute.
out of the ocean, up the beach, crossed the road, absolutely fucking bodied this woman's poor letterbox, and then decided to plant himself directly in front of her fucking car. She was then unable to go to work because this half-ton beefcake was camping her driveway for so damn long. Local news had time to drive out to her house and cover the fucking story. Now, this
Lucky
is a lot of
running.
menace for a single seal to cause. But the funniest part of this is, old mate isn't even fully grown. He's like 5 years old. If you think
Let's
he can fuck things
go.
up now, wait until he's nearly 2 solid-ass tons of blubber and takes issue with the wall of your house. I do not think that seal damage is covered on my fucking insurance plan, dude. This seal
My
is such a
God.
menace that he root. Wombats
What? Wait.
Wombats defend themselves.
Wait.
This seal.
Ah.
Wombats defend themselves by throwing it back. But to understand
Let's
how the
go.
fuck they actually do it, you're gonna need to learn a little bit about them first.
That's
You
good.
see, Australia is home to 3 species of these bad boys, all of them
Oh,
equally
so
adorable,
cute.
and very importantly, all being burrowers, meaning they dig out a nice little hole for themselves and the family to live in, because like the rest of us, they can't afford a fucking house in this economy, man. They grow to around 1.3 meters in length, but despite being small, they are built like fucking tanks, weighing in at a chunky ass 35 kilos, but despite their weight, I shit you not, they have a top speed of 40k an hour.
Is that? Oh my God! He's so
Now, the fact that they
speedy.
can nearly get booked in a school zone, coupled with them being a tank-class marsupial, forms the start of their defense strategy. So you see, a fun fact about wombat anatomy is they spect all their defense points into their ass. Rather than having fat and muscle, a wombat's cheeks are made out of 4
Speed.
thick plates of fused cartilage, making it extremely
Yeah, that's
strong. And this
yeah.
means
They
that
can't
allows
beat
for the
it.
fucking
Like they
funniest defense
can
mechanism I have
bite it,
ever
but
seen on an animal.
I can't explain
If a
it.
predator tracks down Mr. Wombat to his burrow, it'll stick its head in and start trying to dig him out. In response, the wombat will line his ass up with the tunnel door, chuck the gear shifter into reverse, and fucking floor it backwards up the tunnel into his aggressor, slamming his ass into its head. The impact then squashes the predator between his steel cheeks and the roof of the burrow, straight up crushing its skull like a
My
Mortal
God.
Kombat fatality. I cannot make this shit up. Wombats defend themselves by
Jesus
stepping on this
Christ.
rock could straight up paralyze you.
That's a
That's
fish.
because this isn't actually a rock. That is a stonefish, a species of underwater menace native to Australia.
I know
And
it
to the
is.
surprise to absolutely no one, it is also the most venomous fish in the ocean. Because of course it is. As if the fucking snakes and spiders weren't enough, now I can get
That's so
packed
cute.
up by a pet rock. But why is this Pokemon reject such a threat to my mental health? Well, you see, stonefish use their special venom for defense. However, unlike most other animals that do this little f***er doesn't have the decency to dress like a neon sign to warn you. No, 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 no. This bastard is a 6th prestige prop hunt veteran, having evolved some of the most impressive camouflage in the animal kingdom to make hunting easier. And once they've set themselves up, they are basically indistinguishable from Patrick Starr's house. Now, this is a fairly major
okay.
problem as they love to live in the shallows on the beach, and that venom we talked about earlier is stored in these 13 giant, highly toxic spines that deliver venom when pressed on. You can probably see where I'm going with this. Considering it's hard enough to spot these things while you're paying attention, if you were, say, on a romantic walk along the beach with one of the homies, and while distracted by his ethereal beauty, weren't paying too much attention to where you were walking, it would be very easy to place your foot in the wrong spot and step directly onto 13 hypodermic needles, which would then
True.
deliver a ginormous dose of neurotoxin straight into your system. Oh, you thought it was normal venom. No. You see, these things maxed out the toxin skill tree, producing a mixture of 2 neurotoxins that can flatline you by collapsing your heart and lungs.
Yeah, but
under an
why?
hour. And even if you survive, the sting still causes extreme pain, swelling, and tissue necrosis. Because this is Australia, where even the scenery is trying to one-shot me. Stepping on this rock could... This bird can straight hit you with a real combat fatality.
Finish him.
Introducing the cassowary, a species of native to the land down under. And for
that's it.
It's not venomous. Can still flatline you though, and I'm gonna
Yeah,
tell
you can
now.
kill people.
You see, these neon chickens belong to the same family of birds as the emu, and as such share their impressive size.
Yeah, all the birds are, but okay.
79 kilos and growing up to 6 feet tall, meaning the short kings in my audience could, in theory, mount these things like a chocobo. But what makes them stick out from emus? Well, you see, the cassowary is basically a spec ops emu, being twice the weight, highly territorial, and most importantly, coming with a combat knife.
Let's go.
To their foot. That's right, this is a cassowary claw, and it's the reason they can hit you with a fighting game finisher. You see, these claws are a full 5 inches long.
My god.
I mean, honestly, 5 inches, way too big for anything, and especially if you're something that's going inside me. And if you anger the tactical assault turkey, that is exactly what you're gonna get, as their go-to defense method is to kick you square in the gut with that kitchen knife and attempt to disembowel you. And
Let's go.
If the kick doesn't put your insides on the outsides, that kick is still going to send you flying, which can cause some fairly major problems. Problems like the incident that occurred in 2012, where I you not, a cassowary ran up behind a random tourist, hit the heavy attack button, and kicked the guy down a small cliff into the ocean.
And he's alive?
Luckily he survived, but the fact that I live in a country
Did he
where at
live?
any point I could be hit with a sneak attack by a kaiju turkey is terrifying. This bird can straight hit you. Australia lost a war to emus.
Let's go.
But how? How the did we lose an armed conflict with flightless birds? Well, it all started in 1932 when farmers in Western Australia wanted to grow wheat. There was just one major problem. That's emu territory, and emus really like wheat. And coming in at 6 foot tall and 40 kilos in weight, they can eat a lot of it. So when breeding season came around, the emus migrated through the farmland, and these poor farmers were overwhelmed by a tyrannid swarm of
Oh my god, what game is that?
20,000 emus strong. These feathered tanks then proceeded to completely steamroll through the fences, into the fields, and started laying waste to the wheat.
Oh my
Farmers
god.
attempted to fight back the initial wave with rifle fire, but their efforts were, putting it lightly, completely useless. This ginormous L made the farmers pretty bloody angry, so they gathered together and went to the government to ask for help.
They were huge.
20,000 emus have hit the wheat fields.
I didn't think emus were like this, I'm not
The
joking.
emus, enemies of the state, and sent in the army to commence the Great Emu War. The entire 7th Heavy Artillery Division was deployed to WA. Armed with 2
Fortnite.
LMGs, 10,000 rounds, and the sole
My
objective to
god.
blast anything with feathers. A little bit
Ostrich are aggressive? I thought they were nice.
First deployment, the army
What is
immediately ran
this?
into a
What is-
major problem. Emus are fast.
I am speed.
Really fast, clocking a top speed of 50 kilometers an hour, which meant that once they opened fire, the emus would immediately bolt out of range of their weapons.
My
But
god.
They still took a crack at it, and then immediately stopped when both LMGs jammed after only dropping 12 emus. This embarrassment led the army to retreat and rethink their plan. So a few weeks later they returned, this time mounting the LMGs on trucks in an attempt to run the birds down. However, this also didn't work, because after figuring out that those trucks meant they were about to be turned into a KFC family bucket, the emus started leaving scout birds who would warn the flock of the approaching trucks.
That's
Which gave them
smart.
all enough time to book it before the army even got there. And whenever they did catch the emus, they found out they were kind of... Because emus are mostly feathers, and there's a lot of places you can hit on them without doing any damage, meaning it was taking around 10 bullets for every 1 bird. So after a month of blood, sweat, tears, and 10,000 rounds of ammunition, the army managed to bring down 960. The population was 20,000. This was an issue as, unlike America, our defense budget is not a bottomless pit. So the army had wasted all that money to achieve absolutely all. So the government just kind of built a really long, really shit fence around the farms and called it a day. How the did we lose this? I could have done a better job with a boomerang and a cricket bat. Australia lost.
Poor animals, leave them alone.
Beat you up.
Yes, they're aggressive.
Not venomous doesn't mean it can't knock you on your ass. And Australia's most iconic marsupial can do just that. Because they are way bigger than you think they are. With our biggest species of roo coming in at a ridiculous 2.8 meters in length. And with the iconic hop, they've got a vertical jump of 3 meters.
Oh my god.
I mean, honestly, with a stat spread like that, they don't belong in the outback, they belong on a fucking NBA court. As if that wasn't enough, they're also built like tanks, weighing in at a full 90 kilos of roid-raging rabbit muscle. And
why though?
Way faster than anything that heavy has any right to, pegging the speedo at a max of 70k an hour.
Oh.
Meaning if you make a juiced up rat the size of a small car is going to run your ass down and beat the f***ing brakes off you. And I'm not kidding when I say they really will rock your shit, because roos are kickboxers, with males routinely fighting MMA to win female attention. When they fight, kangaroos will back on their tails as a stabilizer.
Any of the most dangerous ones, I think, are the males. I don't think the females are like that dangerous.
And those kicks have enough force to crack bone. And as if getting drop-kicked by a muscled marsupial wasn't bad enough, they also, for some reason, have the same bite
because of the conditions of the place.
Now, even with all of this, there are still animals stupid enough to view a roo as lunch. Which brings me to the most terrifying thing that they do. When threatened, kangaroos will hop into a body of water and wait for whatever
that's it. Maybe because of that.
Predator enters the water, the
and now it's extremely hard to survive that place.
And just, straight up drown them. What the f***?
Oh my god.
I share a country with
that's
psychopathic
crazy.
rats. Oh! Kangaroos can and will. Australia kangaroos touching this plant will put you in the hospital.
Oh my.
This is the gympie-gympie plant, a piece
Another
of
one.
foliage native to the land down under. And surprising no one, not only is the thing venomous, it is in fact the most painful plant on the planet. Because yeah, no, of course, man, even the fucking leaves down here have a problem with me. Growing in the rainforests of northern Queensland, these hell bushes are covered in tiny hairs that upon closer inspection aren't hairs at all and are actually thousands of hypodermic needles waiting to stab you and break off inside your skin if you so much as brush them. Once inside you, these needles will inject you with, I am not kidding, neurotoxin and cause absolutely excruciating pain. I mean, like comedic levels of pain. With one person describing it as being covered in hot acid and electrocuted, and another woman saying that it was straight up more painful than childbirth and she'd given birth 4 times. And the fucked part is, the neurotoxin isn't even lethal. So this spiteful cunt of a plant is hurting you purely for the love of the game. Mind you, there are reports of people saying getting stung by this thing is actually worse than being put in the ground. This is because Groot's little hellspawn cousin here can continue hurting you for literal years after being stung. This is because those thousands of little hypodermic needles are actually made out of silicon, meaning your body can't break them down. And with how thin they are, your skin will usually close up over the top of them, meaning that these neurotoxin-emitting slivers can sit inside your skin for literal years, releasing more neurotoxin.
Oh, come on, hold. They can't make like a cure?
This constant, chronic, agonizing pain is so unbelievably bad that there have even been records of, trying not to get banned here, people Alt F4ing existence to make it stop. This particular incident came from a man who accidentally used one of the plant leaves as toilet paper. I don't think it gets much worse than neurotoxin to the nuts. Touching this plant.
Oh my god, that's really bad.
I have been assaulted by a cow.
Let's go!
Monty, and he's an adolescent, and I made the mistake of turning around for like 5 seconds, and in that 5 seconds, this 500-kilo cow runs up behind me while I'm sorting out his food and tries to f***ing mount me.
Oh my god.
And squished me. If I hadn't been hitting legs, I would have been squashed by a horny f***ing cow.
Why the cow
is being assaulted by a cow?
Why? That's so random.
This bird has to rearrange its organs and skeleton just to lay an egg. This cute little guy is the
it's so cute.
A species of rat type native to New Zealand this time. And the absolute poster child for getting cucked by evolution. You see, this walking featherball is actually directly related to the emu, ostrich, and cassowary, being a member of the same family of flightless birds. However, there is a problem. You see, the rest of the kiwi's bloodline actually looked up a build guide before picking their stats spread, and as such made sure to trade the whole flying thing for something useful, with all of his cousins specking into speed, size, and some kind of offensive capability. So that leaves the question, what did the kiwi pick to make up for not flying? Absolutely nothing. Kiwis are tiny
cuteness
in comparison to their relatives, coming in at only 4 kilos in weight and 50 centimeters tall. This is because kiwis evolved largely on an island with no natural predators, so they downsized and traded out the knife feet and bloodlust for just being a little guy with a good attitude, which honestly worked pretty well for them, until the British did British things, and now they have to deal with cats and dogs trying to eat them.
Oh yeah, that's true.
This build was not designed for PvP. They have been clapped so hard by invasive species that they are now unfortunately an endangered animal. But getting shafted by the British is just the beginning of the generational violation of the kiwi, because these poor feathered fruits can't even reproduce without getting f***ed over. You see, the kiwi bird's cousins are famous for laying huge eggs. I'm talking hit your protein macros in one meal-sized eggs.
Oh
and
my god.
That is because they are large.
I'm hungry. I didn't even have a lunch yet. I just had
vertically
cookie.
challenged cousins have to lay eggs the same size. A kiwi bird lays eggs 20% the size of their body. With the egg being so bloody large, it rearranges their internal organs and stretches their rib cage just to be able to hold the thing.
Oh my.
That is like a human giving birth to a 15-kilo child. That's not a bun in the oven anymore. That's a whole f***ing bakery. This bird has
god.
I ate lunch with a wild lizard. You see, before I made the videos, I worked as a handyman, and one day a client asked me to do some brush cutting because their lawn was, putting it lightly, completely f***ed. So I'm taming a miniaturized version of the Amazon jungle, and I see something that nearly gives me a heart attack. A big lump of scales slithering through the brush about 2 steps ahead of me. Being Australian, I immediately assumed it was a snake, which is a problem, because the only 2 snakes in my home state are highly venomous and extremely aggressive.
Ooh.
So I immediately stopped what I was doing.
That scares me a little bit.
And got ready to call in the snake catcher to relocate the angry hospital noodle.
Help me.
However, while dialing the number, I noticed something. That was kind of too fat to be a snake, and it hadn't tried to eat me yet. So, being the poster child for why women live longer than men, I waddled back over for a closer look, and I found this little guy.
Aww.
This is a blue-tongue lizard, and they're actually pretty cool. Native to Australia, these bad boys are basically a tubby skink, but as the name suggests, they have a
look, they're
bright
so
blue
fat.
neon tongue. Now, I couldn't just leave this distinguished gentleman in harm's way, so I yoinked him and began looking for a place to relocate him away from where I was working. However, during the relocation process, this cute little man proceeded to cuddle up to my shirt and fall asleep, and did not particularly appreciate me trying to move him from his resting place. So, considering it was the middle of the day, I just said, fuck it, called a lunch break, and proceeded to sit in the sun eating a chicken sandwich while Godzilla's little cousin took a nap on my shirt. He sat with me for my entire 30-minute lunch break without me holding him. However, unfortunately, I was only halfway through my workday, so after I wrapped up lunch, I had to say goodbye. I very delicately removed my new scaled friend from my shirt and released him back into the wild.
Alrighty, big fella. Off you go. Back into the bushes. There you go. See you, friend.
I think this incident legally qualifies me as the first Australian Disney princess. I ate lunch with
I like
a
this.
huntsman that used to live in my house, and I'm gonna be honest, dude.
That's
I
a
kinda
spider.
Let him hang out.
He ain't f***ing small.
Yeah, that's a spider.
I'll tell you that much.
They're really,
I was quite
they're
happy
really
to let him just
great.
chill
They're kind of
because,
creepy, but I
never
like
saw
them.
a mosquito or a fly in that house, so he was paying rent in his own way, you know.
Ah, so cute.
There was a big-ass huntsman that used to live in my house, and I'm gonna be... There was a big-ass huntsman that used to live in my house. This animal will peel your face off like a banana.
Koalas are kind of crazy,
the one creature
actually.
that strikes fear into the hearts of every Aussie. The infamous, terrifying drop bear. a species of predatory
No.
marsupial
Wait.
exclusive to the land down under. This genuine nightmare may seem pretty normal at first, closely resembling the koala bear, and that
Oh
is
my god,
by
it's not a
design.
koala?
See, the drop bear is an ambush predator, patrolling the branches of the eucalyptus
Oh my
tree
god,
and
it's
using
not
their
a
keen sense of
koala.
smell to detect incoming prey. And once
Oh,
they
so
can
cute.
smell
No.
you approaching, they will position themselves in the leaves of the trees, being basically impossible to spot unless you're actively looking for them. And even if you do see them, you're automatically going to assume it's a koala. And that assumption is probably going to be the last mistake you make, because walking under these things is inviting the most painful death you can think of.
Oh
Once
my
you walk
god.
in the range, the drop bear will launch itself from a tree and aim directly for your head. Small animals will often be clapped on impact as the 20-kilo drop bear launched itself out of the tree so fast that it snaps their spine. And they're the lucky ones, because once they make
that's horrible.
contact with your head, drop bears will immediately puncture your scalp with their foreclaws and latch on like a fuzzy little face hugger.
But
Once
do they
firmly
eat?
attached to
Do
your
they
skull,
eat
the drop bear will start to
prey?
kick out your eyes with its hind claws in an attempt to blind you. And while they are forcing you to cosplay Daredevil, they will be tearing into your face with their fangs like a fucking chainsaw. The attacks are
Oh my
so
god, no,
vicious
this is
that
horrible.
most human victims end up being completely scalped and having their faces removed. And even if you manage to pull them off in the initial assault, those claws contain a potent neurotoxin which will paralyze you in under 5 minutes, allowing them to run you down and eat you alive. Australia loses roughly
No way.
600 people per year to drop bear attacks. So if you want to survive your trip down under, I have a secret to share with you about the drop bear. And that secret is that all of this is complete and utter bullshit. Drop bears aren't real. I made it all up.
Fun.
Fool's cunt. This animal...
Come on, this is not fair. But okay, I guess it's time to finish.